Hi guys, I am again. I went to see another movie, a kind of movie I didn't like so much, but I went to see because the theme, the history that was about Van Gogh, and is a painter that I really like. But for me, the movie was a kind of disappointment. So it is Door for the Eternity with William Dafoe. He is really a great actor, and he's very good in this film, and he saves the film. The director is Julian Schnabel. I thought he was French because the kind of movie and the name, I thought he was not from United States, but I searched on the internet. He is a painter and he is from America. So he made a kind of movie very different from usual, from the ones that we see in the usually we see made from that part of the world. Um, the movie doesn't tell the history of Van Gogh, and I know the biography of him, and it's not exactly the same what happened. I mean, a lot of things is invented. They could start with when Van Gogh was a child until he died. In the film, it seems that it was some teenagers that shot him. I didn't see that searching. It was suicide, but it was a failed suicide because he got a shot on his body, but it didn't die, and die late of infections. As you know, on 19th century and before, were discovering the antibiotics, so a lot of people were dying with infections that today is treated like this. You know that. So they didn't talk about the Van Gogh passions. He had a strong crush for women in black. He like widows and or women that were moral because of their fathers. He had that attraction. He was a good person, no doubt. He was sensible. He saw the poverty and felt that, and passed until his paintings. Okay, that we can see in the movie. But what seems is Van Gogh was a normal person. He wasn't. He had terrible psychological problems. He maybe was bipolar. Maybe today, if the doctors would give him Prozac, and he wouldn't make that wonderful paintings. So he had a friendship with Gauguin. Okay, it's true. Theo was his friend. His brother was very supporting. He didn't sell anything. He was a man above that time. Only saw his talent after he died, because when he was alive, just one paint was sold. The movie was kind of boring. A lot of time he was in the nature. He liked the nature, but a lot of time he was in the fields and like this, and making like this, feeling the trees, feeling the flowers, and like a symbiosis with nature. But could be just some minutes, but it was long. It was strange. The way they show the insanity of Van Gogh was was strange. We didn't. If a person don't know how Van Gogh lived, he wouldn't understand the movie. some person that were seeing the movie got to sleep. So you see how much it was boring. What really was good was William Dafoe. He looks like Van Gogh a bit, but he make a great performance, but make a performance very balanced and very sane and good mind person. And Van Gogh was nothing of that. He was a man of convictions, of impulse, of extremes. He wanted to be the savior of humanity. But the only thing he could do was paint, but in the true heart he was a missionary. It was like his father was a priest, a Protestant priest, and he wants to help everyone because he had the generosity, the sensibility in his heart. But nobody understands him in that time he lived. But even now nobody understands, because this world is just insensibility. Nobody feels. It's just selfishness. Nobody is really generous and try to understand others. So it's a problem of humankind that most of the persons are just beasts. And he wasn't that. They didn't understand, and he got in a psychiatric hospital. Only thing that he wants was friendship and love and talk. And we see in the part that is a narrator talking, that part is in the film is more true, and we see what really were Van Gogh. Besides that, I think the movie was not good, not true, and not the sequence was not good to make us understand what kind of life was of Van Gogh, how he lived and how he felt. It's a kind of strange. Then the last scene is a coffin, and the paints are all over him, and nobody cares about him. Just then they look what they did and start to see that is very beautiful. Well, that's it. What happened when a person is much more ahead of his time. Unfortunately, that's what happened with a lot of artists and a lot of persons that are different, are another level of the humanity that is so sometimes very impolite and no sensibility. So I would say to see the film, to see William Dafoe, that make a good performance, but besides that I think it's not a good film. See you next time. Kisses. Go to the cinema. Bye bye. Ciao.